I'm not in my spot tonight either, so I hope everything comes out. I got flowers behind me and all kind of stuff tonight.
I,
And
I
Jeff,
didn't know. I didn't know if the party was still going to be going on in the background. And we'd be hearing the party.
no, we cook in here, and at my nephew's, that's where the party is going to be tonight.
I
So
got you.
yeah.
Yes, we have our graduation service at our church tonight, so that's
Oh, okay. So I got to get her up and get you out of here, huh?
well, just however much time you need, I'll be here for it. I told my family to plan to go without me, and I'll meet them there if we need
Yeah,
to.
meet him. I hear you. I hear you. Well, yeah, we are live now, Jeff. Folk are actually coming in, and so hopefully we'll get there in a few seconds. But the cool thing about social media is the idea that they can always come back and go to the beginning
Right.
and hear everything that we talked about.
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I
Absolutely,
mean,
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get kicked off, Jeff. I want to welcome you to the Let's Talk show tonight, and we're going to be talking education. And for all you guys who are out there, we are honored to have Jeff Powell, who's the superintendent for Rapides Parish Schools, John joining us to discuss a range of topics, including summer plans for the kids, and the improvements in education in the state of Louisiana as a whole, and delve a little bit into some of the things that's going on with District 62 Fund. So, Jeff, go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are and all that kind of good stuff this evening.
well, thanks for having me on, Jack. It's been a few minutes since we've talked, so always appreciative of the support that Urban Cast and others give us for the work that all of our students and teachers are doing
Hmm.
in the education system. If I haven't met you, the folks following tonight, I'm Jeff Powell. I'm the superintendent here in Rapides Parish Public Schools. Role for about 5 years, and always excited to share the work that our students and our teachers and really our community. We've talked about what it means to be better together, and
Hmm.
after almost 5 years, we're really seeing the benefits of everybody pulling together, working for the
I think, Jeff, we might have kind of lost you there. It's saying that your connection is I don't know if you can hear us, but you froze. Oh, there you go. You're back now.
yeah. I don't know if you did I
Yeah,
freeze in the middle of talking or
yeah, you froze right in the middle of talking, man.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here, Jack. There we go.
Okay, let's get the data in while we got it there, Jeff. Tell me this, Jeff. What initiatives does the Rapides Parish Schools have in place to ensure students are having an enriching and productive summer this summer, and
Yeah, we're
particularly.
always excited to talk about the different things that are going on in the summer. We have summer programming, of course, for
Mhm.
it'll be close to 3,000 students ultimately that are participating in that. We try to have at least one site within each system in our school system. Obviously, the primary focus with our summer programming is to provide enrichment and accelerated academic activities for our students. The state passed last year that students who complete third grade need to be proficient in literacy in order to be promoted to fourth grade. So heavy
Mhm.
emphasis on that. But we also mix a lot of co-curricular type activities in with that to make sure that our students get connected to our high school and to other events going on in our community. That's specific to the school system, but I do want to make sure that all of your viewers are aware that we have you may have shared it already too. We have a Google form out there on social media right now for
Mhm.
anybody to add activities that you're going to have for young people to do
Mhm.
throughout this summer, whether it's a civic organization, municipality, churches with your vacation Bible school, anything that we've got to keep children engaged over the course of this summer. It's extremely important for them to stay active, doing something productive. So if you'll fill out that form, it's a real simple, less than probably 5 or 10 minutes to complete. I looked
Mhm.
at it this afternoon. There's at least 52 activities already in there. We will be releasing that information next week, the last week of school for students. We'll obviously release it on social media, put it on our website, but goal is to actually give something to the students before they leave school too, to take home, so that the parents that aren't on social media can see.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure we re-echo that as well, Jeff, because that's extremely important that parents have those resources that are potentially available for the kids and different things of that nature. Louisiana has the Louisiana education system has seen improvements in national rankings recently. What factors do you attribute progress, and how is Rapides Parish, Jeff, contributing to these positive trends? Especially when the state, in that same report, it reported the state almost dead bottom almost, but yet our educational system saw some ticking going up.
Yeah, so if referring to the U.S. News and World Report article that came out this week, there's multiple facets to it. And if you look at the bigger article, we do as a state still rank dead last in the overall picture when you put crime and healthcare, education, economy, and all of those
Mhm.
things in the mix. But what it did highlight is in the education space, we have continued to grow in our rankings. We're now 40th, when there was a time in the not so distant past where we were ranked last in almost every reportable category when it comes to education. When you start talking about why or how are we making these improvements, I think you got to really talk about a variety of things. One of the things that at the state level, at the legislative level, that has happened is there's been some policy changes. There's been some law changes related to the types of curriculum that's being used in school, what's important in our schools, and then the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education has implemented various policies and changes that make sure that not only do we have certified, trained teachers in the classroom, but we're focused on the things that matter most with our students,
Mhm.
specifically talking about literacy. You've heard me talk about literacy. You and I've had a couple of really good, deep conversations when it
Abs-
comes to the you and I've talked about poverty, being such a big issue.
right, right.
Uh, I think a comment that I've made is that to me, poverty is a symptom of deeper, bigger issues, and I absolutely believe and know that one of the roots of poverty is literacy. What we do know is that across the globe, not just here in Louisiana or not just here in Rapides Parish or in the United States of America, literacy is one of the strongest predictors of quality of life for all of humanity. And so when the state of Louisiana is reporting that less than 50% of the students who complete third grade are not able to read on grade level as measured by the assessments that we have, Houston, we have a problem.
Right.
And so it's almost stop whatever else you're doing and let's make sure that children know how to read. And so you've begun to see some policy and law change to impact that. But in addition to that, you're seeing resources allocated for that. Great opportunities such as the Steve Carter Literacy Scholarship that I believe you and I had a conversation sometime last year
Mhm.
about that. Steve Carter is, as I understand it, legislator who has passed, but he was so interested in literacy. They named this particular scholarship piece after him, and essentially what it does, Jack, is pretty much every family in the state of Louisiana is eligible to tap into up to $1,000 worth of tutoring specifically for literacy. And so when you see the state year, they allocated, I believe it was $40 for those types of initiatives
Mhm.
um, to make it improve. So have law and policy changes, but it's another thing to make sure that you have funds to support that. And I do think that's something that our legislators and Bessie leadership in Baton Rouge, as well as the Louisiana Department of Education, have really tried to work together to make sure that you have all of those things working together, both law, policy, and funding.
Okay. Can you give us a look? I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of the district's 62 bond initiatives, the impact that it's making and on improving the educational infrastructure and resources within the parish as we speak. And that's and District 62 is specifically to the Alexandria area
Yeah,
too.
that's great. So yeah, District 62. Remember, we have 13 different taxing districts that make up the Rapides Parish public school system. District
Mm-hmm.
62 is the largest. It's the serves the largest number of students, has the most buildings, and all of that makes up the incorporated limits of the city of Alexandria, plus some annexed pieces that come in through the years for whatever reason. But yeah, we so when we passed a $100 million bond a couple years ago now, it took a little while to get all the planning done. You know, you got architectural designs, you had all kinds of stuff that I've gotten to learn a lot about that process over the last couple of years. But we did groundbreakings. It's about 2.5 months ago now for about 7 of those projects. If you go over to DF Huddle, right there on Texas Avenue, and
Mm-hmm.
sneak around the back there, you'll see that new wing that they're getting is um, definitely in the dry. I was in there last week, and they were doing HVAC work. They were doing electrical work. They were doing all kinds of stuff to get it ready for occupancy. We're fighting the clock with that. We'd love to have it open for the beginning of the 24-25 school year, because the fifth graders that Huddle are actually attending over at Alexander Middle Magnet while that construction's taking place. So
Right.
that's one of the projects, actual academic projects, that is complete. I think most people are aware that even before the football season started, we were able to get turf the Alexandria Senior High School football field, as well as the Peabody Magnet High School
Mm-hmm.
football fields, and so they both got to play their seasons on the new turf, and just brought a whole new dynamic to going to football games on those campuses. If you were able to do that, you got to experience that, and then just the energy and the excitement, for those
Yeah.
players.
Yeah,
Uh,
you could definitely see it in the spirit of the kids out there as well, Jeff. I tell you.
we talked about that, Jack. If you remember when we were trying to go out for the bond, and and everybody has their feelings about it. I do understand, and I respect everybody's thoughts and feelings about it. And anytime
Right.
we the government are asking for more money
Mm-hmm.
to pay for things that a lot of people think you should already have. We talked about how students respond when they see the adults in their community investing in them, and we've
Right.
already begun to see that. And so we are just forever grateful to our community for supporting that. But in addition to that, we've got all these other projects. Some of it's renovations, renovations going on in our schools that sometimes you may not see it on the outside, like out at Martin Park Elementary. We've got the biggest thing they needed was an additional set of bathrooms there, and so on the back side of that again you really don't see from the street is happening. But probably the two biggest projects that everybody's ready to see, that we can't wait to do ribbon cutting or groundbreaking on them, is the new academic buildings for Alexandria Middle Magnet and Arthur Smith Middle. And so both of those are still in the design phase. We've got some beautiful renderings of those both at both locations.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we were throwing a little bit of a curveball. Evidently, a few years back, the state of Louisiana adopted some federal guidelines on new construction for schools, specific to wind damage,
Oh,
wind speed. So new buildings like that are actually supposed to be um, built to with a construction rating to sustain 100-mile-per-hour winds. Well, that was not in the original plan. So now that we're working with the city of Alexandria, it is, from my understanding, up to um, you know agencies to determine whether or not they hold all new construction projects to that, or what's the threshold if you're just adding a wing.
mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're working through that with our architects and engineers and the city planners and others to
Mm-hmm.
hopefully not delay the construction on these. When I was at Arthur Smith earlier this week doing a few things, and there's a bunch of stuff piling up over there. They're getting ready, So it's just they're waiting for the word go on that.
Go right.
It's exciting times, though, Jack.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I can only imagine. In what specific ways are the bond initiatives? Yeah, and you may have already asked this question, but if it's anything else that you want to add to it, In what specific ways are the bond initiatives addressing the needs of the students directly, the teachers,
Yeah.
and the broader community? I know we talked about the spirit that a lot of the kids are having right now, but anything else in particular?
Yeah, I'd say a couple things to that. Even just walking the halls of Arthur Smith, I think a lot of folks will remember. I believe it was the year before I became superintendent. I mean, there was actually I think a staged walkout, of the school because of the status of the facilities. And
Hmm.
so, even being here before the bond, we had to go over there and do some things to try to get it, up to speed so that everybody felt comfortable in the building for teaching and learning,
Hmm.
families, all those things. But now that there's these renderings there that showing, hey, this is what the community says about our education system here. This is what the community says about our students. This is what the community says about our employees. That you deserve this. You can just see. I know we talked about feeling that the energy there, but there's also a sense of pride when students are walking through and they know that there's a big investment coming in, especially when they start seeing these things. That when you buy a new car, boy, you don't let anybody eat in it. You don't do anything that would scratch it, mess it up. There's just that sense of it's the same thing with a new house or a new in this case a new school. And I'll tell
Hmm.
you one thing that kind of surprised me a little bit. I'm often maybe accused of thinking too much about the business side of it. Like, so I'm thinking, when
Uh-huh.
they're drawing up these buildings, and I went to some of those planning sessions, and they're trying to make it pretty and big and open spaces, and I'm looking at them saying, well, no, no, how many classrooms are we? How much space, how much capacity are we going to have? I want to eliminate as much old stuff as we can and have nothing but new. So I don't need 40-foot glass walls of pretty. I need functionality. Then they quit inviting me to those meetings, Jack. So, but one of the things that got me, like I in my mind, Arthur Smith, if you're familiar with that, and Alexander Middle Magnet, both of them have pretty large open spaces behind those schools, and
Hmm.
just from a functionality stance, I was thinking they would just do these new buildings kind of on the backside, and then because you still have your gym and your cafeteria is kind of right there to use, and then
Hmm.
and then I found out no, they're putting them in the front. And then when I asked about that, the reasoning, one of the reasons that they said there's obviously some functionality pieces to it, but one of the things that they told me is like, hey, your community is paying for this. They need to see what they're paying for. So you don't stick the new building in the back. You put the new building in the
And
front, and so that makes perfect sense, Jack. To them,
yeah.
and they didn't have to convince me that was the smart thing to do. So I just can't wait till we can break some ground and the community actually see those buildings going up.
Absolutely, absolutely. With the evolving landscape of education, what innovative programs or approaches in the district is the district implementing to ensure students are prepared for the future?
Yeah, so man, we've been doing having a lot of conversations as we're planning for we're kind of halfway through 2024 25 now, planning into next year.
Hmm.
And when you think about innovation in teaching and learning, sometimes it's not about the curriculum, or it's not about the even the strategies per se. While we know that our teachers are using the best curriculum, we bought them the best tools that the state of Louisiana says are out there for them to use, and they're trained to use the most effective strategies. What we also know is important is just that connection between goal setting, planning, how we track and monitor whether or not we're moving in that direction. And so one of the things that is involved evolving increasingly across the landscape of education is how intentional are we at looking at a student who may not be able to read on grade level right now, and really identifying what the root causes of that are, and
Hmm.
how can we address that on that individual student basis. And I think the biggest shift there is, we all know, public education has classroom sizes that, from anywhere from 15 to 25, 30, 33 students is allowable in the upper level classes. We don't typically staff people at that level. But trying to implement strategies and processes and procedures that empower teachers with the tools to individualize the program structure for students as best we can, and then supporting that work with all of the appropriate tools. So that's the biggest innovative changes that you're seeing across the landscape of education that is leading to higher academic achievement as we're here in Rapides Parish in conjunction with the state.
Okay. Can you share any success stories that are happening within the within Rapides Parish schools that highlight the effectiveness of the recent educational initiatives that you guys have undertook and things of that nature, Jeff?
Let me pull out my big long list here. Oh man, so some of the most exciting things, I know a lot of us were following the workforce development pilot that we did at Peabody Magnet High School.
Right.
Really thankful for the community leaders that helped organize that and listen to students, man, about
Hmm.
what they felt like they needed in order to be more successful. Sterling Brown called me and said, Jeff, y'all need to come hear what some of these students are saying. and
Hmm.
and then when we listened to what they were saying, and then we had a meeting with our business leaders. You were at some of those meetings, Jack, so you heard. I mean, and the business leaders are saying we need a. The students are saying give us opportunity. Well, you merge those two things through the conduit that is the school system, and boom, yes. And so we had about 60 students from Peabody Magnet High School that were able to literally one day a month go engage in a strong mentoring relationship with
Hmm.
business leaders in our community in jobs that they may very well be in. A lot of them are going to have an opportunity to work in some of those jobs this summer.
Hmm.
Thanks to our partnership with the police jury and the workforce development group there.
Hmm.
Um, so that was one of the biggest things. And so what we're doing there is obviously we're helping close the workforce gap, building connections, building relationships, things that may not be as measurable as some of the other things. But what people need to understand is because of opportunities like that, are
Hmm.
some of those students now can see a reason successful in the classroom, right? If
Right.
I can be successful in the classroom and do the things that this potential employer is saying I need in order to be successful, now I've got my why. This is my why. It's no longer the whole why am I trying to learn this? I'm never going to use this algebra.
Right. Right.
Well, now they have a why with that. So that's been one of the most exciting endeavors this year to watch and kind of participate in. But I do need to brag specifically, if I can use that word as superintendent brag, on high schools and ACT. I mean, we've got schools this year when the data officially comes out
Hmm.
that are going to have grown 8, 10, 14 index points in ACT, the ACT index, which is a function of both the ACT and the work keys assessment.
Right.
You're going to see the average ACT of several of our schools. We are already higher than the state, and so you're going to see that grow even more. And that's because of some very specific intentionality within. If you haven't met Mr. Matt Burns, he's our secondary director. The work that he's leading our
Hmm.
principals and their teams through the work with Mastery Prep that we've brought in to do ACT boot camps, also to provide training for our high school teachers to just teach at that ACT. I mean, those are some of the most exciting things. I mean, and we could go on and on, man. We've got when our students go compete in different things, whether it's robotics, whether it's choir stuff. We got a choir that's going to be singing in New York City next year. I mean, I tell them when we do our superintendent's report at the board meetings on the first Tuesdays of every month,
Hmm.
anywhere Rapides Parish public school students go, they win.
They
And
win.
we see it on the athletic fields and play, but we also see it in the academic world, in the competitions that they do. It's truly exciting, and I just love it. I love being able to be a part of it.
Jeff, I'm gonna switch gears. It's a couple of questions that
You're
some
gonna
folks.
start grinding gears in a minute, Jack. You keep switching gears.
But I got the right person here to help. One of the I got the right person here to answer these burning questions. One has to do with the two schools over on Lincoln Road that currently houses the academy and I'm gonna say Lincoln Road #2 because that's where I
Yeah,
went to elementary. But Phoenix,
Phoenix, Phoenix and
AKA
Rapid.
Phoenix.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So what's going to happen to those two facilities as the majority of those students move over to the Bolton Academy and what have you?
Yeah, we're actually exploring a couple different options. The Rapides Academy campus is slated to be vacant next year, and so I don't want to talk too much about some of the programming that we're thinking about just yet. We've got some folks investigating some specialized programming that we think will be very beneficial to our students in our schools that may wind up over at Rapides Academy.
Hmm.
As far as Phoenix goes, I'll just be honest with you. What the comment I've made is that when it is vacated, I would anticipate that we will probably bulldoze it down.
Hmm.
It's got some it was part of the reasoning behind needing to do something different. It's got some facilities issues that need to be addressed. That it just hasn't been fiscally responsible to try to address those. And then when you have situations again like all of the rain this past week that creates issues on that campus, so I'm sure we'll have some professionals come in and look at it and tell us what our best options are. But we want to be wise fiscal agents for the taxpayers' money when it
Hmm.
comes to that. I know that is an area of our city that has some planned development, some planned opportunities to grow. I think the last couple of weeks I've heard about a potential plan to extend um, um, that road that goes Sugar Mill Road to actually connect all the way down to Third Street down there, Highway 1 South. And
Right,
so,
right. I
you know,
think we might have. You there, Jeff?
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. So I thought you were trying to say something. So I mean, I think if things like that and development on the south side of town kind of start picking up, there may be all kinds of options over there.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. The other comment was we need to focus on early intervention, assessment, and diagnosis of potential disabilities before the third grade, boosting up resources and staffing toward special education. You have any comments to to to
Yeah,
chime
I
in?
mean that is absolutely the key. I mean, identifying needs as early as possible. When we talk about the work that we try to do through our Head Start program, through our early childhood pre-K programs, and making sure that our students are ready. One of the 6 critical goals for the Louisiana Department of Education is making sure that students are prepared for kindergarten. If
Hmm.
they don't get to kindergarten already prepared with those basic foundational skills, then they already start behind. And then for K-2, we're really focused on literacy. Another thing that the Louisiana Department of Education is adding a K-2 literacy and numeracy component to the state's accountability system, which has not ever been in place. And so, one of the complaints that educators have had for a long time regarding our accountability system is, you take a test in the third grade for the first time as far as a standardized assessment, and it's automatically part of your accountability system. And so now we're going to have some components that will actually gauge students' acquisition of knowledge and skills, even from kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, to build up to that. That will allow us to better meet needs at an earlier level, I believe.
Okay, and what about financial literacy, Jeff? What is your thoughts about financial literacy becoming a part of the academic curriculum at some point?
Yeah, well, it was passed in terms of state law this past year, so it will be part of the required curriculum at the high school level. We've gotten some guidance on what it will look like.
Hmm.
But interestingly enough, Jack, we had our student advisory council meeting yesterday, and had that's where we were actually at Arthur Smith, had our meeting there, and several of the students on that committee talked about the importance of learning things like financial literacy and how to plan successfully. We talked about what we asked them is to define for us what college and or career readiness means to them. And
Hmm.
interestingly, we had some middle school students and some high school students. The high school students were talking about, how well we are prepared for whatever it is that we're going to do next. For so long, the idea of success has been everybody go get a 4-year degree, and
Hmm.
obviously that's a huge topic on the national scene with the amount of student debt and things like that. But really making sure that students have a clear plan that includes a financial plan for what their future really should hold. Whether it's earning those industry-based credentials and going right to work, partnering with Central Louisiana Technical Community College, CLTCC, right here, and getting those advanced credentials, going to a 2-year or 4-year institution to get a degree. But what we also know is that according to the Board of Regents, less than or right at 30% of the jobs is all that require a 4-year degree here in the state of Louisiana. So right at 70% of the jobs that are available for students right here in our state do not require a 4-year degree. A lot of them do require some type of post-secondary training or skills or certifications. And so we need to be able to help students see all of the possibilities that are available to them right here in our own community.
Mm-hmm. There was one other question that I didn't throw at you, Jeff, but it was, what about the children that can't achieve at a certain levels in education? What about those kids?
Yeah, so I mean, I think what we have to focus on as educators is growing every child.
Mm-hmm.
I've made the comment to our staff and our folks. I think it is reasonable to expect that if a child spends 7.5 hours a day for 167 or 170 days with a trained that is trained to teach them, then we should expect them to grow. And so, while the state may establish, grade level standards for a particular age child, we all know, we're parents and we work with children. We know children grow at different rates, maturity wise, academic wise, intellectual, these types of things. But what is reasonable to expect is for every child to grow every single year. And that's what we have to focus on more so than, did they achieve exactly what, somebody arbitrarily said somewhere down the road that they by doing this, or this.
Mm-hmm. As we prepare to close, Jeff, what are the key priorities and goals for the Rapides Parish School System in the upcoming 24-25 school year?
Yeah, so our goals have not changed.
Mm-hmm.
We're relentlessly committed to providing an innovative and supportive educational system for our students that engages, empowers, and elevates. And that vision is rooted in very, very specific beliefs. We believe that the students of Rapides Parish can and will achieve as well or better than students all across this state and all across this country. We believe that our teachers are the ones that are going to get them there. We
Mm-hmm.
believe that our leaders are the ones that are going to lead our teachers and our students. And we believe that our parents and our community want to be part of it. They want to support it and they want to celebrate it. And because those are the beliefs we have, we try to make sure that the thoughts we think, the words we say, and the things we do always reflect those beliefs. And with those beliefs and with that vision, Jack, we have 3 goals. 3 goals. That's what we've shared for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Every child must read on grade level by the end of 3rd grade. And it is time for us to think about what else are we doing with students up until 3rd grade. If they can't read, then we are doing them a disservice. And we have to make sure that that is the number one priority. For grades 4 through 8, our goal is to make sure that students are growing to their maximum potential. If we get year in the 3rd grade, it's all about growth from 4th through 8th grade. Whether we're talking about literacy, whether we're talking about math, whether we're talking about science, social studies, whatever the case may be, they need to be growing to their maximum potential. We believe an integral part of that, 2 different pieces to that goal, is to make sure that students are involved in co-curricular activities. The research is clear. The more students are involved in effective co-curricular and extracurricular activities, they come more, they behave better, and they perform higher in their academic areas. And we want them to do that by connecting with their high school. So that's our elementary students read on grade level by 3rd grade. In the middle school, upper elementary and middle school, 4th through 8th, students are growing to their maximum potential, connecting with these extracurricular activities. And then in the high school, from 8th grade through 12th grade, our goal is to effectively support students in the graduation pathway they choose. Students are exposed to different career opportunities and high school pathways and through their Quest for Success class and other opportunities in 8th grade. Grade year, they're supposed to declare whether they're going to be on a jumpstart pathway and pursue an industry-based credential, or they're going to be on a top university path and pursue that 4-year college after high school. either way or somewhere in between there. If they're somewhere in between there, we want to support them in as many ways as possible. And so that is what we are committed to in the Rapid Parish Public School System. We've made a ton of progress over the last few years. We have a long way to go. We're the first ones to admit that. But,
Right.
but because so many people are working together and they believe in this vision and they believe in these values and they know that these goals are the right goals for us to work on, we're seeing tremendous improvement across this district.
Oh, okay. Well, Jeff, I definitely want to say thank you for joining us over here with Let's Talk. We're gonna definitely try to have you back next month, and we're gonna try to keep you coming and giving us an update once a month. That's gonna be a new. That's gonna what do they call it in the military? Additional duty assignment that we're gonna give you.
Hey, I love to do it. I love to talk about the work we're doing and give everybody updates as much as you want to do it, Jack. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, we truly appreciate it. We definitely appreciate your enthusiasm and all that you're doing with the kids. And if like we said before we got started, if nothing can speak that louder than anything other than last night at the Rapides Parish Coliseum at Ash's graduation,
Yeah.
and the energy that was in that room, I don't know if anything else can say it, Jeff.
7,000 people in an enclosed area celebrating the achievements of young people. That's some of the most exciting things you can have in a community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Jeff, I definitely want to say thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to speaking with you again next month. I got Mary Helen's number on speed dial, and we'll make sure you get you back over here, man.
Looking forward to it, Jack. Thanks a lot.
All right, if you could just hang tight there, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Again, everybody that's out there, we greatly appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Make sure you share this information, and Jeff, a lot of times folk like to engage, so make sure somebody is over there on that goes back out there and look at those comments, and if it's any question that somebody have, it's a good tool to be able to address it and that kind of
Absolutely.
good thing. Again, thank you guys.